Sorry about that. This is a test to practice how we're going to do the different inventory methods. And the first one we're going to look at is called the specific identification method. And with this method, they will tell you exactly what they sold. So it's almost Valentine's Day, and we are going to be selling sweethearts, boxes of sweetheart candies. And we sold 3 boxes of the 7, and they tell us right here that we sold 1 from February 1st, and 1 from February 13th, and 1 from February 10th. So that would be this box here for $3, a box for $2, and a box for $1.25. And so if we were calculating the cost of goods sold, we would add those 3 numbers together and we would get 6 1/4, which is shown right here. Cost of goods sold, 6 1/4. Well, we have 4 boxes left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our ending inventory. If we add those together, our ending inventory also happens to be 6 1/4. We add our cost of goods sold and our ending inventory together, and it comes to $12.50, which is what we had available for sale. And that will always be true. Your cost of goods sold plus your ending inventory will always equal your merchandise available for sale. And so the specific identification method is one that's used for larger items like cars. You know exactly which car it is that you sold. It would not be used for something like sweethearts because you wouldn't keep track of which box you bought which day. So like cars, diamond rings, furniture might be, depends on if it's a bigger furniture store or not. But that's the first method that we're looking at. The next one we're going to look at is called FIFO. And that stands for first in, first out. FIFO. They just use that for a shorter method. And so first in, first out means that they're assuming that the things that we bought in the beginning would be the things that we would sell first. So I'm just going to erase our marks here from before, and we'll start over. And so once again, we sold 3 boxes. We don't know which 3 we sold. With the FIFO method, we just assume that they were the first ones that we bought would also be the first ones we sold. So with that method, we would right away assume that these are the 3 that we sold. And so we add that together and we get $4. So your cost of goods sold is going to be equal to $4 with the FIFO method. The ones that we have left over here, that would be your ending inventory. And so when we subtract our cost of goods sold from the amount that we had available, we would get what? $8.50. And so that's what ending inventory would equal. And if we add these up, 2, 4 plus 3 is 7, $8.50, and that's how we get the ending inventory. We add these 2 together, it comes out to $12.50. That's the same as what we had up here with the specific identification method, and so that we know that we're correct. Businesses that use FIFO would be like businesses that are selling produce, something that would get old. You would want to sell whatever you bought first. You'd want to sell that first. And that's why they rotate and move, you know, the newer things to the back, the older to the front, because they want customers to take those first. So that's the FIFO method. So I'm going to clear this off again. And we're going to look at LIFO, last in, first out. And this is where a business would assume that the last things they bought are the first things they sold. So if we sold 3, we would assume it would be these last 3. And that might be something that, like say at a hardware store, and you bought more bolts you just pour them on top of the old ones. You're not going to keep them separate. There's no way to do that. And so you would assume that the ones on top are actually the ones that you just recently bought. And so these last ones are going to be the cost of goods sold. And that's $7. And so our ending inventory, what we have left is going to be these over here. And so we've got 125 and 125 is 250, 4, 550. Add these two together. What we had available was $12.50. That's the same as on the other ones, so we did it right. And that's called LIFO. And then the last method is called the weighted average. Excuse me. And with weighted average, I'm going to clear this off again. What we do is we average all of these together to find out, well, what was the average price that we paid? So we take the $12.50 and we divide it by the 7 that we have. And let's see, I'll have to figure that out quick. So $12 divided by 7 boxes of the Sweethearts, they're $1.71 a piece. And we sold 3. So we take 171 times 3, and our cost of goods sold ends up being, whoops, I goofed that up. Cost of goods sold is $5.13. Now we have 4 left, so that will be our ending inventory. So $1.71 times 4 would be $6.84. And if we add those two together, they add up to $12. With weighted average, you won't come up to the exact same number because of rounding. And I think I made a mistake anyway. Yep, I did. I took $12 divided by 7 on my calculator. It should have been $12.50. And so this becomes $1.79. So these numbers will be different. So let's see what it should be. This is $5.37. And this is $7.16. And when we add them together, we get $12.53 for the available. And see, we're 3 cents off. So it won't be exact with weighted average. Weighted average would be used like at a gas station. They get more gas, they put it in that underground tank. There's no way to know which gallon you're getting, so we're just going to average it all together, and that's the weighted average. So if you take a minute and look at what the cost of goods sold were for each of these methods, you can see that with specific identification, it was 6 1/4. With FIFO, it was 4. With LIFO, it was 7. And with weighted average, it was $5.37. The weighted average will always be somewhere between these two. And the specific identification, of course, is the most exact. And so this is just a real quick and easy example of the 4 different methods of valuing your inventory.